In the first part of this series, we learned about the fascinating Arthur G. Barnes. Shipwright, artisan, ambitious, and dedicated. We learned about the childhood accident which took his eyesight in his right arm. And now that we've explored the backstory of our protagonist, it's time we introduce ourselves to his seafaring co-star, the Margaret M. I'd like to split this section of the tour up into two bits. There's so much about this vessel worth discussing that I thought it would be easier to first talk about the vessel as it performs as a boat. The simple and elegant designs which lend themselves to a seamless, seaworthy craft. Then, secondly, it would be a shame to skip over the little intricacies of the Margaret M. The extra detail Arthur put into this work of passion that become evident upon closer inspection. Our third episode will focus on these finer details, while this episode will function as a broad overview to begin with. The Margaret M is a 14-foot yacht which Arthur personally dubbed the Scuda class. It's not entirely clear what the meaning behind this designation is supposed to be, but friends of Arthur's suspected that some inspiration was gleaned from the dialects of Norway and perhaps Sweden. From observable design principles to passenger testimonials, it is evident upon inspection that Arthur built the Margaret M with stability as her core design principle. A key factor in the stability of this vessel is the tumble home. The tumble home is the inward sloping aft section at the rear of the vessel. It increases stability considerably by widening the width of the ship, also known as its beam. This feature, while perhaps mundane in appearance, is quite impressive when you consider the craftsmanship involved. What makes a handcrafted vessel featuring a tumble home so impressive is that it eliminates, or at least greatly hinders, the use of molds for crafting the hull of the ship. For instance, if you were to craft a Margaret M look-alike using fiberglass, that vessel would become stuck in its own mold. You would then have to cut the vessel out of that mold, destroying it, making it an extremely inefficient and costly process. Arthur crafted this vessel by hand, and no doubt the symmetrical warping of the tumble home would have been one of the most difficult processes in the construction period. Continuing with the concept of balance and sturdiness in mind, Arthur made the logical decision to craft the Margaret M with a displacement hull, a common choice for any sailboat. The hull of this vessel is designed to sit slightly below the waterline and cut through the water, displacing it around the vessel, as opposed to a planing-hulled vessel which sits on top of the water, subject to greater turbulence as the vessel tilts and rocks with the surface of the water. A displacement hull results in a slower top speed as a result of having to cut through the water as the ship goes, but in return requires less thrust to propel the vessel forwards, which is perfect for something like a sailboat which lacks an outboard motor and has the sail as its sole form of propulsion. This results in a slightly slower, but overall more stable and easygoing vessel. Working in conjunction with the displacement hull, we have this innocuous design feature, one you may not even realize as a conscious design choice. This is the transom, the aft flat section of a vessel. The water being displaced around the vessel creates a suction force, which can pull the stern of the vessel downwards as it passes behind, creating drag and turbulence. But notice that this section has an abrupt, sharp edge. This reduces the suction force of the water as it trails off of the vessel rather than pulling down as it goes, compensating for the effects caused by the displacement hull. These two features work in conjunction for a combined maximum stability and speed. Lastly, the Margaret M's sails are fitted with a reef line, yet another versatile feature in the Margaret M's toolkit. In extreme winds, the sail can be collapsed along the reef line, shrinking its overall size profile. This is also called reefing the sails. This does not result in a lower speed. In fact, it helps do the opposite. In heavy broadside winds, shrinking the area of the sail can compensate for the excess push of the winds, which causes unbalance. A smaller sail in stronger winds produces the same amount of propulsion as a larger sail in calmer winds. The reef line is just one method among many that sailors have to control the forces being exerted upon their vessel. Time and again, I find myself in awe of the technical capabilities of Mr. Arthur G. Barnes. Once again, he demonstrates there's nothing in this world you can't do, given enough patience, practice, and hard work. I hope you enjoyed this quick overview of the Margaret M, and I hope you join us next time when we continue our exploration in closer, finer detail. Till next time.